Hi, everybody. Welcome to World Kindness Day. I am here to talk to you about one of the most honorable, privileged experiences that I've had in my life. And that was several decades ago. I had the opportunity to go and serve with who I would describe as the biggest humanitarian our planet has ever known in Mother Teresa. Um, I went as a very young, impressionable, naive, kind of ditzy 18-year-old, right? And I was under the impression that I was there to do a little light public relations, do a little bit of marketing, like an 18-year-old knows anything about public relations or marketing, but that's what I thought I was there to do with 9 other volunteers with a program called Partnership and Service Learning. And so the 10 of us from across America went out to Calcutta, India, and served in the home for the sick and dying. That's where we were assigned. Never did I think I would meet Mother. I mean, I knew we were going to be part of the um, sister missionaries and the home for the sick and dying. I did not expect for her to greet us or to spend even a nanosecond with her. So you could only imagine my surprise on day one of orientation when she was there to greet us and instruct us basically about what our time there would look like. And you could only imagine my surprise when she came up to us, she came up to the 10 of us, handed each of us a rag, okay, a literal rag like you would use in your home. And she said, she pointed, and it was this mile deep of people wrapped around the building, twice through. And she said, go help these people die with dignity. That's the point at which my heart started beating outside my chest because I didn't know what dignity meant, let alone how do you help someone die with dignity, right? So this is where that whole journey started. And this is where I became very, very passionate about the notion of dignity and how we, as people who are serving one another, we have an obligation to preserve dignity in others, those that we're serving. Um, and basically, what I wanted to just share with all of you some of the lessons I learned, right? Because there is this inherent power dynamic in serving, right? It's very quick or it's very easy for people who are doing the serving to somehow believe we're superior, right? And to unintentionally, in some cases, treat those we're serving as somehow they're less than or, you know, somehow, that they're beneath us, if you will. And I'm here to really, really plead with you not to do that because ultimately, if you do, I would argue that this kindness cocktail and the highs from the kindness cocktail that Mark talked to us about, that we will nullify that, right? Because if we serve and we share kindness from a position of power and arrogance and isn't it good enough that I'm doing something? Take whatever I'm giving you and be happy with it. Like if we come to the world in that kind of a posturing, we might as well not do the service. Who wants to be served that way? So I want to take you back to my time in Calcutta. One of the things we would do often as a volunteer group with Mother Teresa at the helm of this is go out in these really rickety golf carts, okay? And we would scour the slums of Calcutta and go into the leper colonies and pick up lepers from the streets and bring them back to the home for the sick and dying. So I don't know. I mean, I had no experience with leprosy and did not have any indication what that was going to be like, right? And I don't know if any of you understand leprosy, but the odor, the sights, it's people's skin, the flesh was falling off skin. I mean, it was a lot. And I remember mother looking at us and say, specifically, she looked at me and she said, fix your face. Okay? Fix your face. Because no matter how much I tried, you couldn't help have this like shock and, it was just too much, right? And what she would say to me is, how do you know that's not Jesus? How do you know she's not Jesus? Right? And she very much was someone who looked, she was trying to find and serve God by serving those who were considered untouchable, unlovable, unwanted, uncared for, right? And she constantly talked about the scripture in Matthew 25:40 that said, when you are in the service of the least of these, you were in the service of your God, right? And so that really, really struck a chord with me. It has lasted with me till now, and it's been several decades since the time I served. And her point is, you need to know that the way to help, first of all, dignity is not something you can bestow on anyone, and it's not anything that you can take away from anyone, right? This is our inalienable right as a human. However, you could destroy someone's dignity by the way that you treat them, right? And you communicate that by your words and your actions. So, a few of the things that she really taught us is make sure that you're giving people choice. Just because they're in a position of needing help doesn't mean that they don't have preferences, that they don't have needs. So, make sure you're doing it the way they want and not what's easy or convenient for you. Make sure that you're giving people control of their lives, because imagine one of the gentlemen that I had the privilege of sitting with and working with in the home for the sick and dying, he was an actual government official of India. Why, at that level and status, did he find himself in the home for the sick and dying? That's when he looked at me and he said, you know what? Any one of us are one or two decisions away from being familyless, homeless, destitute, right? It's just luck of a draw why we're all sitting here in the Santa Clara Convention Center versus thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who are outside who are homeless, right? We're no better. It just so happens that this is how it is, right? And so in this in this interaction with this gentleman, he said, and those of us from India know that having maids and chauffeurs and butlers, and for those who have money in India, that's very common. Cooks, right? And this is a gentleman who had all of that, and was now in the home for the sick and dying because he was estranged from his family. They disowned him because of some fraudulent activity in the government. He was rendered penniless and he was quite sick and he was in this home. And he could not even make a decision on what shirt he was wearing, right? It was all done for him. And so when we had this conversation about dignity, because I was so obsessed with mother's comment about go help these people die with dignity, I was just asking, what does dignity mean to you? And you said, being able to put on my own shirt or know or have a choice of which shirt I'm putting on, right? Having some semblance of control over my life. So I'm just here to say that dignity is all about our sense of self-worth, self-esteem, right? Value. And if we're truly, truly serious about kindness and being a kind person and not just doing kind deeds, I would really, really plead with you to think about dignity and how can you add to the dignity of the people that you're serving. And I just want to leave you with that dignity is to the human spirit, okay? The dignity is to the human spirit what food, water, and oxygen is to the human body. And that, my friends, I leave that with you and I thank you very much. And let's go be kind.